says it's going to work over here this time. I got a good feeling. Oh yeah, it's working on the YouTubes. We're working on the YouTubes. There's no image. There's an image. There we go. So this is my new single, everybody. For some reason, the camera source is required. Oh, I have to add a camera. We'll be right with you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just add this webcam video and see what happens. I don't know where it went now. What's up here on top? It's not doing anything. So what y'all are binging on right now is my latest track. This is called Whole Head, and I'm going to start it over because I hit a little technical snafu with TikTok. I'm going live on YouTube and TikTok at the same time, and sometimes it makes for some craziness. And I'm also wearing sunglasses under blue light. Oh boy, show at least one camera source before you go live. Alright. Show the hidden camera source. I have to show it. Alright. So I stream out of a program called OBS, which is a program made for streaming. But TikTok forces you on your desktop. If you're doing it through your phone, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're doing it through a desktop and you want to use OBS, they don't want you to use OBS. They want you to use their crap. Crappity crap. And they're wasting everybody's time. And they're not as good at creating that kind of software as OBS is. And OBS is, what do you call it? Fair. It's fair. I'm not accusing TikTok of being unfair. But I don't want to use their crap. That's what I'm getting at, people. So this is the Brother Seamus Show. I'm going to start this track over. This is my new track produced with my cousin Sam Kenny. This is called Whole Head. WHOLE Head. And we're recording together under the name Ogo Pogo. OGOPO. OGOPOGO. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Brother Seamus Show. This is my latest track called Whole Head. I just do the vocals, and my cousin Sam spits out the beats for me. Please enjoy. really would like a whole head. I wish I had a whole that you wish that you had a whole head. I would like to have a more whole head. There you have it. There you have it, people. That's Whole Head by yours truly and my cousin Sam, and we go by the name of Ogo Pogo. We don't have anything out there yet, so don't go looking, but it'll be here soon enough. Let me pause that. That was a lovely track. But we're going to change up the tone a little. The Brother Seamus Show, we talk about a lot of stuff. We hope you'll join us. You don't have to participate. There is a poll. If you're watching on TikTok, we're putting up a poll right now. Trying to figure out which of these 5 countries, democratic nations, have the best voter turnout. Let me check my stream over here, people, to make sure. It looks like the chat function on the YouTube stream is not working. I'm getting the purple monkey with the red hat, ladies and gentlemen. The purple monkey with a red hat. And he's holding I believe he's holding a wrench. He, she, they, them is holding a wrench. And I think it means I'm in trouble. Oh, no, he's holding a hammer. He's holding a hammer, folks. Would you like to see it? Here, I'll show you. I try to show and not tell whenever possible. Where'd display go? There it is. Nope, wrong one. How about... There's this purple monkey with a red hat. Reminds me of Curious George. So that's what I'm getting on my YouTube stream. So I don't know if you can chat with me. I'm going to keep refreshing it because sometimes I think it'll fix itself. But, you know, it's not easy being a stream. You have to do what you have to do. Let's turn on a little bit of Zud. I like some Zud when I'm preaching. And this is called Dronescape number 8 by Zud. And Zud is spelled capital X, small u, small d. Looks like this right here. This is what the Zud video Dronescape number 8 looks like. You can find him on YouTube. Mostly he shows up on the page that we co-own, Something Television. Actually, we don't really co-own it, but let's bring that down, people. Gotta bring it downtown, Julie Brown. It's running a little hot there. Zud's running a little hot tonight. So I'm going to put this on loop, and this will be our standard preaching track. Already on loop. How about that, people? We are good to go. Let's shrink it down. Let's slide in. Camera 1 and 2 overlay. Slow slide to the left, 10,000 milliseconds. Thank you. Beautifully executed. Did you notice the form, the style? We'll come back to the new track. We'll come back to Whole Head by Ogo Pogo. We'll play that somewhere in the middle and somewhere at the end. I like to use it as my 7th inning stretch, is one way to think of that. The old 7th inning stretch. Ooh, you got to get that background music at just the right level, just so it feels just right. Let's check our phone line, make sure the phone line's open today. Oh, there we go. Oh, hello, Cliff.
I just want to thank you for the service that you're doing free on the internet. We got a lot of guys out on the road right now clearing all the ice and snow so they can get home safely. And the free entertainment and spiritual guidance that you're providing the citizens of Kent County is greatly appreciated. Thank you for drawing some recognition to all of that.
Well, thank you.
Just want to let you know your YouTube signal is working correctly, and we are receiving it loud and clear. So again, keep up the good work, and God bless you, boys.
Thank you, Cliff. That was Cliff from the Road Commission. He's out there keeping Walla Walla, Washington, and the surrounding areas safe and clear of snow. Cliff is an amazing human. To know him is to love him. This is the Brother Seamus Show. Give me a 10,000 millisecond slide to the left. Back to camera 1. Naked. Naked camera 1. So you can call 509-676-6032. I hope my whistly S isn't too whistly today. You can comment, but you don't have to. I kind of like to think of this program as a late night public access TV show where you can, set your screen brightness to like 9% and just listen in your headphones, preferably. It doesn't have to be, though. You get that. Some of the phones have pretty nice sound. It's not great, but it's, it's nice, right? It can help you fall asleep, because sometimes when you're trying to fall asleep, all you're thinking about is all this shit about, wait, why didn't I do this, and what about that? Who could have said woulda, shoulda, coulda? And nobody needs that, right? So sit back, enjoy. We will talk about I have to give you, the Brother Seamus promise is that I'll always give you informed consent. I usually put up, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see my banner, because I live stream in 16:9, even though YouTube or TikTok is in 9:16. So I put a banner on the top and bottom of the broadcast. And TikTok gets very mad if it doesn't see me move around a lot, so I'm going to keep giving it a little bit of the wiggly fingers so it knows I'm here. We are going to, here's your Brother Seamus warning. We're going to talk about abortion and how changes since Roe v. Wade was thrown away, which is, I think it was so shocking that most people almost couldn't really absorb it. And now the after effects are beginning to be felt, and those are hard things to talk about. But we'll take our time. I'm not going to yell at anybody. I might mock you gently. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I don't think I'm smarter than anybody else, but I think I have some thoughts that I feel compelled to share after 30 years of being a psychologist and realizing that we just made a decision. We allowed a religious belief that life starts at conception, which is a religious belief, because it all depends upon how you define life, right? But we've allowed that belief to get so far into our public discourse that now we are denying women emergency miscarriage treatment in a number of states, and there are already 5 confirmed deaths. And I just read about another death of a woman in the Coast Guard. Long story short, she had had a miscarriage a couple years before, prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned. Through no fault of her own, okay? She had a miscarriage. She was trying to have a baby, but it didn't work out because Mother Nature is, she's a wild, mad scientist. And your body does things sometimes that you can't control. So she tried again. This time, Dobbs had happened, which is the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And all of a sudden, the military, which is not supposed to deny you reasonable health care, all of a sudden they didn't want to let her have the DNC, which is a type of an abortion where you remove the remaining fetal tissue. The fetus had already stopped being viable, I believe. It was over. The pregnancy was over. But they wouldn't give her the DNC, which allows her body to go back to normal more quickly. And what happens when you have, we'll call it unresolved fetal tissue in your uterus, is you get infected. And they delayed her and delayed her and delayed her, and they finally had to give her an emergency DNC because I think she was passing just huge amounts of blood. And you can read the entire story on ProPublica.org. I'll put a link to that in the YouTube, into the body of the YouTube description over on TikTok. Maybe I'll put a link in the comments, but you guys can go to ProPublica.org. It's not hard to find. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm going to try to be a good shower and not a teller, because I do think people are visual. However, you might be just listening to this, and that's fine. So the story I just told you about is under the title, A Coast Guard Commander Miscarried. She nearly died after being denied care. Let's make that full screen over here. And then get the display up over here. And then kabam. Okay. So this Coast Guard commander had a miscarriage. And one of the ways that they stop you from getting the D&C, which clears out your uterus, one of the ways they stop you is they say, oh, you need a fetal ultrasound. We need to make sure that the fetus doesn't still have a heartbeat, as if a heartbeat proves that you're fully human. Because this is what a lot of people don't like to think about. A lot of people fail to realize that the heartbeat, it really starts more as a full body pulse because the heart's not all the way formed right away. There's nobody home here. It's just a pump that's working. There is absolutely no brain. There's no conscious being there. But because we have this technology and we can see this little bump that's growing, that eventually will be a fully formed baby, but is in no way, shape, or form a fully formed baby. But now the law is favoring this. It could be a blastocyst, right? That's the first 10 days. A zygote, a fertilized egg, a fetus, is on its way to becoming human. And even though the same Coast Guard commander had a miscarriage before, and they had to do a D&C to be safe, this time they wouldn't let her have it. Now, she survived, thankfully, but she was at home, bleeding to the point where they had to rush her to the emergency room. I think had they waited much longer, I mean, she thinks that too. She thinks that she was pretty close to death. And the reason they wouldn't do the D&C, the military even, the reason they wouldn't do it is because Roe versus Wade was struck down. And now they're all nervous, acting like they'll be breaking the law if they give a woman who's having a miscarriage treatment. Isn't that something? So that's on ProPublica. You can check that out. It's not the most fun topic to talk about. Thank you for the hearts, whoever did that. I see more hearts happening. I love it. I don't know who's doing it. Can I find out if I click a heart real fast? Nope. So even if you disagree with me on abortion, what I would say is please consider that it almost doesn't matter what your opinion is on abortion. It matters if something goes wrong with the pregnancy, which happens, folks. It's not like a rare thing. I think 1 out of 10, 1 out of 8 pregnancies have miscarriages. Now, not all miscarriages get complicated, but some do. So we're talking hundreds, if not thousands, of women around the United States and in the military who are not always being told explicitly, oh no, you can't have an abortion even though you're having a miscarriage and the fetus is not going to live, even though it's over for the fetus. If the fetus still has a heartbeat, they're going to try to make you wait. Or they're going to demand another, fetal sonogram or whatever it is they use to detect a heartbeat. Thank you, Holly. Looks like Holly Lynn, 1954. It's an uncomfortable topic. Holly is pointing out, and I don't like talking about it. I did grow, part of the reason I feel a little bit comfortable talking about it, even though I've got a wing danger instead of a hoo-hoo, that's code for I don't have a uterus, but my mom was a labor and delivery nurse. And so when I was a kid at dinner, we'd hear about what happened in the delivery room that day. So I'm a little bit, I don't want to say I'm used to it, but I also think besides that, it's just something we really have to talk about. We really, really have to talk about it because it doesn't matter how you feel about abortion anymore. They've pushed it so far now. They've pushed it so far that it doesn't matter if you want an abortion or if you want to keep the pregnancy. If you have a miscarriage through no fault of your own, good luck. If you're in one of these states, you could be in real serious trouble. And it is kind of a, nobody knows how long is too long. So that's part of what we're starting to see if you read these articles, and I encourage you to read them all. It's very obvious that waiting is the thing that screws it all up. It's very obvious. The waiting game is terrible. So a young girl in Texas named Nevaeh ended up dying in around 20 hours from the time that she sought emergency medical treatment. She was having terrible cramps. She was very young. She was 18. It was her first pregnancy. And she started having terrible cramps. I think if this is the same story, and you can check this on ProPublica.com. Don't take it from anybody on social media. Nobody on social media should be unquestioned. You should question everyone, including your brother Seamus. But she was 18. And in Texas, they threaten physicians with up to 99 years in prison. They threaten OBGYN and ER doctors if they need to perform an abortion. If the state decides that abortion wasn't really necessary to save the life of the mother, they say that they will prosecute them, and they brag about this. Ken Paxton, the AG in Texas, likes to brag about how they're going to prosecute doctors for doing abortions. Even if the doctor and the woman both agree that it's time to save her life over the life of a fetus, that's probably, not to be too dramatic, but it's an ill-begotten fetus. It's not going to work out. Something's wrong. The body is not accepting it. Maybe her blood pressure was too high. Maybe her iron was too low. Whatever. Your body hits the eject button. You guys just don't understand that it's okay. I'm not going to jump into that conversation just yet. I want to finish my thoughts. So they sent Nevaeh home on her first trip to the ER. They didn't even really explore why she was having horrible cramps. She went back. They sent her home again. And then she finally came back. And she wanted to keep the pregnancy. And they finally applied enough pressure, I think, on the doctors, and her health slipped so quickly. This is a strong, healthy 18-year-old human that by the time they started to help her, it was too late. She'd already died. Oh, I see. Cindy, are you saying we don't believe those stories? You've got it wrong. Well, why don't you read the stories first? Why don't you read the stories and notice? And I'm not here to bully anybody. I just want you to notice it's not all BS, Cindy. I know that you think it because it's upsetting, but we have to deal with upsetting things, people. That's what I do for a living. By the way, this is not psychotherapy. This is me goofing off on the computer, trying to draw attention to the topic of women dying from lack of miscarriage care. And Mother Nature doesn't care what your political position is, Cindy. What if your daughter or your sister or your best friend lived down in Georgia or Texas or any number of other states, Florida, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, I think both of the Carolinas, one of the Dakotas, South Dakota, Idaho, did I already say Idaho, Arizona? We're never going to... I do think some people on the far right think that us crazy liberals or snowflakes or whatever are dangerous. And what I would say to remind people like Cindy is, first, take a breath. We're not trying to make anybody get an abortion. Nobody's ever going to force you to get an abortion. But what's happened is they've pushed it so far with the advent of Trumpism and the appointing of 3 guaranteed votes against Roe versus Wade. What we've done is we've pushed it so far that now the religious belief that life starts at conception the political belief, is causing women who want and need abortions to not be able to get them in a timely manner. And it turns out it doesn't take much time to die. I mean, it's fast. I think once your uterus gets infected, and that's what happens. You have a miscarriage, you get infected. If you don't treat that infection pretty quickly, it seems like of the 5 women, I think the longest that one of them stayed alive was like a day and a half, 2 days, once she hit that critical stage. I don't know what you... Oh, I see. Never mind. Yep. I appreciate you guys arguing on behalf of abortion. And all I would say is, for everybody, and Cindy doesn't want you to believe me, and that's fine. I think you should wonder, who is this guy in a disco helmet? By the way, this is actually a moped helmet. This is a for real helmet, and I love it. But you should wonder about anything. I don't think people on social media should be trusted at all. You should go out and read the articles yourselves, and I want you to notice, this is a sign of actual journalism for people who are questioning. I want you to notice that they use first names and last names, and they tell you what hospitals they went to. They tell you the names of the doctors they talked to. That's what actual journalism is. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It matters whether it's verifiable. It helps if you find out it comes from an institution, whether you love them or you hate them, but that they've been doing actual journalism for a while, as opposed to some guy in a disco helmet, right? So check my math. You don't have to believe me. I agree in a way, Cindy. Do not believe me. But do go see for yourself. And here's the thing. They're trying to cover it up already. So Brian Kemp, for those of you who are just tuning in, Brian Kemp is so... he knows how bad. He knows how bad it is. He knows that what he's done is terrible, and it's political suicide for him, I would say. So what did he do? He fired the board. He fired the investigative panel, because that's what people like that do. Instead of dealing with the reality of the law, he signed a law that is now causing a slow, very quiet, but very effective genocide against women in the United States. That's what Brian Kemp and Greg Abbott and KIV and all the other governors have done. And I don't think they're going to be able to hide the bodies. Yeah, Cindy, I know I haven't been lied to because I did my homework. So you go do your homework. Connect that we do women. I can't tell what you're saying. We do treat women that spontaneously abort. Stop telling women they... Well, then how come we have dead bodies, Cindy? All right, I guess Cindy's forcing our hand here, folks. I was going to go on and play you some more music and make another cup of coffee. But let's do a real quick review of verifiable deaths. Verifiable deaths. Let's start with Portia. Third woman died under Texas abortion ban. So that's Portia. Let's get a look at her. There's Portia with her husband or boyfriend. She's now deceased because she could not get an abortion in time. They made her wait. Okay. Let me put this over in the other window so I don't want to rob people over on YouTube. They don't comment as much, but they're important too. YouTube people are important too, right? Okay, here we go, Cindy. So that's Joselee right there, Joselee Barnica. They told her it would be a crime. She was having a spontaneous miscarriage, okay? You understand what that is. It's just where you've been pregnant. Now, she was looking forward to giving her daughter a sibling. This is not a woman that was trying to have an abortion. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's up to the women to always decide what they want to do with their bodies. However, Joselee Barnica wanted a sibling for her daughter. Instead, she had a miscarriage that she couldn't control. and they would not assist her in terminating the miscarriage. They would not assist her. They said, we're just going to do it naturally. They could have given her a D&C and taken care of it quickly. But they made her wait. And guess what? You don't have to go too far down in this article, Cindy, to read what happened to her. For 40 hours, the anguished 28-year-old mother prayed for doctors to help her get home to her daughter. All the while, her uterus remained exposed to bacteria. 3 days after she delivered, Barnica died of an infection. So we saw Portia. That's Joselie. She left her daughter. So you're stealing people's mothers too. I don't know if that has any effect on anyone. If you lost your mother when you were young or even when you were older. Let's see if this is one. Oh, there we go. So there's Nevaeh on the right. And that's Joselie, who we just saw. Look how cute. Both of these women died in Texas, both of them under Greg Abbott's rule. He signed a law that intimidated the doctors with lots of rhetoric from Ken Paxton, the Attorney General. It scared doctors by threatening them with 99 years in prison, Cindy. What do you think your doctor would do if you were having a miscarriage or someone you love was having a miscarriage and they had been told, oh no, you'll go to jail. You might go to jail for 99 years. And then the hospitals, I think what you're going to see, it's already happening a little bit. The hospitals are going to put their hands up and do a Pontius Pilate, and they're going to say, we follow the laws of the state, and the doctors make their own decisions about who to treat. So they're going to leave the doctors hanging to protect their own butts. Okay, and there's a couple more. If you want to jump into the top of the, if you want to read this in order, go to ProPublica.org and just Google Life of the Mother. It'll take you right there. And each article links to the next. So that's Amber. She's the first one I read about. Same thing. They delayed. She was having a miscarriage. She got septic, which I don't fully understand. If you're a medical person, chime in. Amber got septic and died. Candy was so afraid that they were going to charge her with some crime because she did not want to go through with the pregnancy. So she took an abortion medication, and then she was having a problem, but she wouldn't go to the emergency room. So she was intimidated out of going. She died at home. That's Candy Miller. So Cindy, I don't want to press it too hard, but you're a good. And I want everybody to take a minute and think about. I don't think Cindy's being a troll. I don't think she's being mean on purpose. I think Cindy feels strongly about abortion, and I support her belief in that. I would say, though, let's not force one element of society's belief to cause another element of society to die. I do think of what I'm saying, Cindy. I think that you're so overwrought with emotion. How are you pro-choice, Cindy? That doesn't make any sense. I am pro-choice. You're not telling the facts. Well, if you're pro-choice, why would you ever want to stop Joselie or Nevaeh from getting a D&C when they were having a complicated miscarriage? Cindy, think about this part. Neither of those young women wanted to lose the pregnancy. They both were hoping for a baby at the end. So how are you pro-choice? It doesn't make any sense. Oh, I see. So Cindy, you're just lying now. You live in Texas and those cases are not factual. So did I create the website ProPublica.org? Am I somehow a magician? I created a whole website. And if you're in here and you're listening to Cindy and you're if you're wondering how do you verify some of these things, it's a good question because there's so much BS out there. And I agree with Cindy on this. Don't listen to anybody on social media, including me. But please do go and look up these women, look up their names. You could, if you were really struggling with this, you could go to the county where she died and you could visit her her grave. You can also check, I believe, depends on the state, but I think death records are public. So I think you could examine the death notice yourself. So not to pick on you, Cindy, but you're just trying to decide. You're just trying to decide that something uncomfortable isn't true. I do know that if you report, people dying in the press and it's not true, I think you start to get in trouble for fraud. So that's one way. So Kathy, I'm not sure exactly what you're arguing for. Yeah, it's a DNC, you had one. I never would have aborted my child. Yeah, that's the point. Neither Jocelyn or Nevaeh wanted to abort their child. They were both really looking forward to it. I think Nevaeh had 7 brothers and sisters. So what I really want to harp on is that abortion is actually the opposite of what the right to life people have claimed all these years. Abortion is actually something that saves women from death by miscarriage. It really does. It really, really does. And I'm noticing that we've lost our church music. Okay, everybody, I want you to take a deep breath. If you're on TikTok, if you're watching on TikTok, there's a survey up about which countries have the best voter turnout. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you one hint. It's not the United States. That's part of our problem. Part of our problem, people, is our turnout sucks. But we're working on it. We're working on it. We've got a bright future ahead of us, people. I think we can do it. I really do. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is the Brother Seamus Show. Please follow us. I'm almost to 1,000. I'm almost to 1,000 followers. I don't know what happens when I get 1,000, but it's probably pretty cool. We'll be right back. This is the Brother Seamus Show. Nobody's saying you're going to be arrested, Cindy. What we're saying is that some people are so afraid of what the law is threatening. The physicians especially are afraid because they're the ones targeted by the law. They're afraid and they don't provide the procedure. Now, depending upon the hospital and how brave a physician is, you might get some treatment. And I agree with you, if you're losing a child, if you're having a miscarriage, you must go to the emergency room. And I would say, yeah, absolutely, go to the emergency room and don't take no for an answer. If they tell you you can't have miscarriage treatment, tell them you want the standard of care or you're going to sue them. Cindy, you're saying you believe in A-B choice, absolute choice? And Cindy, do you know these things for a fact? I'm not busting your chops. Just tell me, do you actually work for a hospital? And do you have, is there a physician that would be willing to talk from your hospital about how they are going to provide miscarriage? The standard of care, right? You understand that, Cindy? A D&C is the standard of care. Now, Candy was afraid she would be prosecuted for taking mifepristone. That's why Candy didn't go to the hospital, Cindy, if that's what... But the doctors are the ones worrying about being prosecuted. And there's a letter, you can read it on ProPublica, also written by Kenneth Paxton, Attorney General of Texas, where he promises to prosecute anyone that provides abortion care. And the doctors took him at his word. They don't want to get prosecuted. Neither would I. Of course, there is the small matter of their taking a Hippocratic oath to do no harm. And when you delay, I would say this to all the OBGYN and emergency medical people, when you delay care, you know exactly what you're doing. You're increasing harm. So physicians, when you know someone needs a D&C, for the love of God, man, don't play games like that. Okay, folks. So, Cindy, I just want to pick out a couple comments. I don't know if you're still here or not, but you're saying these are not true facts. Look up the exact cases. Okay, Cindy, tell us. I'm happy to share. I already shared with you where I got my information. And I'm sure if we, if we had to go to court to prove something, I could prove what I'm saying, because I'm pretty sure that the journalists at work at ProPublica aren't going to just make up fake death certificates. I just don't think they're going to do that. You're saying look up the exact cases. Hey, I'm game. Send me a link. I'd be happy to. And I think there's still something in this comment. My God, please think of what you're doing, or think of what you're saying, Cindy says. Well, tell me what you think, Cindy. What do you think it is that I'm doing? I think that you're so caught up in what we in psychology like to call anthropomorphication. You're anthropomorphizing a fetus. And until, I think they're called, oh shoot, I'm forgetting the name, but basically it's the part of your brain that allows you to develop consciousness. That ability doesn't even begin until around 6 or 7 months. Yeah, that's a good point, Leslie. Some of the women who survived, I believe there's another Texas woman, and I'm blanking on her name. She had blonde hair. She survived. She had to go out of state, but when you wait that long, especially if you this is how I understand it, and I'm not an OBGYN, and this is not psychotherapy, but if you're infected, if your uterus gets infected and you barely survive, yeah, there you go. Leslie nailed it. Leslie on TikTok said they'll get care when they're on death's door, and that's where the doctors, I think, are freaking out, as they should, because they're like, we don't know. Once sepsis starts, like Nevaeh died in 20 hours. She was gone. I think Amber lasted a little bit longer. It doesn't matter. You don't know when they're going to die, and the doctors are like, we really should have done a D&C immediately. But then you get a letter from the Attorney General in the state of Texas that says they will come after you. Scares the crap out of the doctors. I think the doctors need a legal defense fund. I hope they'll think about setting that up. I think every every OBGYN and ER doctor should start a legal defense fund in the whole country, because they're going to come for you at a national level if they can. I don't think they'll get that far, but I didn't think they'd get this far. But thank you for that comment, Leslie. I'm going to follow you because I liked your comment. No offense to Cindy. I'm just busting your chops, Cindy. But you're wrong, and I think you're too. What I would say to you, Cindy, is think for a minute about how strict they've made the law so that doctors are afraid to look at an 18-year-old, a 24-year-old, a 39-year-old and say, well, this fully grown human, her right to life is less important than the fetus, because if I abort the fetus and then Ken Paxton shows up because he wants a press opportunity, and he shows up to put me in the cuffs, how do I pay my bills, take care of my family if I'm in jail because I gave an abortion that the state says wasn't necessary, even though the doctor might think it was necessary? So Cindy and I are button heads here. I'm going to say I've got the receipts, and Cindy's got strong feelings. But that's okay, because I do think we have to think about how much these ideas are driven by strong emotion, right? It's the amygdala, people. It's that part of your brain. Some folks refer to it as the threat assessment center, and I kind of like that. So people get scared, and then there's been a lie. A big, juicy, destructive lie that's been pushed on us since I think before I was born. I would say for at least 50 years, the quote-unquote right to life community has sold us a lie that abortion kills babies. When in reality, what abortion really does is it keeps adult women alive when they have complicated miscarriages. But it's a powerful lie that's been told. Seems like the mother's life, potential mother's life, has been deemed expendable by this incredible power grab, I would say. The right to life religious movement has seized power in many state governments, and the people who are going to pay the price are going to be women who need Cindy, how's somebody going to pass away because now you're just get trafficking in BS. How's somebody going to pass away listening to me? I'm telling them they should get more treatment. They're scared. Cindy, they're scared of the law. I'm not scared of the law. They're scared. You should go to the emergency room and you should tell them exactly what you need and want, assuming you know. You keep saying you're pro-choice, Cindy, but you sure don't seem like it. He has listened to biased media. Those cases are not fully factual. Go in for treatment immediately. Cindy, I'm not telling them not to go in for treatment. You're mischaracterizing what I'm saying. So, guess what's going to happen to little Cindy Lou Who? We're going to have to make her go away. Sorry about that, Cindy, but you're being too destructive now. Or maybe I'll just mute Cindy. I'm going to just mute her. I'm going to see how that works. All right, Cindy, I'm going to mute you for 5 minutes. For the you did something that I consider an infraction on this show. You intentionally mischaracterized what I'm saying, as if I'm trying to stop women from getting treatment. And that's a mischaracterization. Now, when you come back in 5 minutes, if you say it again, then I'm going to have to go ahead and block you for the rest of the live. And then, because I'm a good parent, Cindy, I'm a good parent, then you can come back. Yes, Leslie, thank you. So Leslie's pointing out yet another way that you can detect if you're dealing with, Cindy wanted everyone to believe this was fake news. Well, there are actual lawsuits happening as a result of it. And I would also add, Leslie, excellent point, and I'll bet you we're going to see a ton of lawsuits. As my dad used to say, I'd bet my bippy we're going to see more. So it's very hard to, a lot of stuff you see in the conspiracy world, if it was true, if those things were true, there'd be so many lawsuits. For example, when Trump was claiming that he won the 2020 election and there was fraud, and Fox News, who was held liable, not like social media, Fox News was held liable by the voting machine company, and they lost because there was no evidence of fraud, and they ruined the voting machine company's reputation. They defamed them. And Fox News had to pay almost $800 million to the voting machine company. That's how you know when stuff is real. You can say the election was stolen, but then when you go to court and one person says it was not stolen and you lied about me, then they have to prove their case. So lawsuits are a good tell, I guess is what I'm getting at. Lawsuits are a good tell. If you don't know, because I do think, honestly, don't know if you agree with this, Leslie. I think people are truly confused, and if they weren't already comfortable determining fact from fiction on the internet, if they weren't comfortable with that, or they weren't good at it, or they get targeted by social media with really inflammatory ideas, I think they don't know what's true anymore, and I think they don't know how to find out. And so that's a recurring theme on the Brother Seamus Show. I like to talk about how can people, and I'll give you a hint, a lot of it comes through healthier community. If you can talk to the people around you, talk to your family, talk to people you trust. Don't listen to some guy in a disco helmet up on the social medias with his hipster mirrored glasses and his neon crossing guard jacket. Why would you listen to some nutball on social media? and don't listen to Cindy for that matter either. Find out for yourself. Who's lying to you and why? And I can't imagine that we're going to wake up tomorrow and find out that the entire journalistic endeavor called ProPublica just decided to make up fake deaths one day. Like nobody's going to notice. So Cindy, if you're really convinced it's not true, why don't you try to go visit one of these families? Maybe you should. It's not very practical, but you seem to think it's all fake. And what I think, Cindy, probably what's happening to you is that you are being given kind of the spin of something that it is upsetting. I think even folks who are truly pro-choice, you're not truly pro-choice, Cindy. Yeah, Leslie's making another great point. It does take the hospitals, and there's a commission, although Brian Kemp just fired the one in Georgia. It takes them a couple years to investigate the deaths of the women. So it's not just that these women died. It's that a group of experts determined that their deaths were avoidable. They didn't need to die. It wasn't, we did our best, we applied the standard of care, and they died anyway, because that does happen. Sometimes you do your best. This is, we're going to withhold the treatment they need because that treatment falls under a general category, because a lot of people think an abortion is one thing. There's a general category of procedures underneath the abortion. DNC seems like it's the most common, along with mifepristone or medication abortions. Point is, these women are dying preventable deaths according to the people looking into them. And we're only hearing about deaths from 2 years ago that started almost immediately after Roe v. Wade was struck down. So you know what that means? There are a lot more women who have already died that we don't even know their names yet. They're probably in Idaho. They're probably in Iowa. They're probably in Missouri. They're probably in the Carolinas. They're probably in West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana, and Arizona. We just don't know who they are yet. And saying it's not happening, I dare you to talk to Joseph Lee's family. Talk to Joseph Lee's, she looked like about a 3-year-old daughter. Oh, Leslie, is that really true? I hope it's not true, but I think... Oh, I see. By life flight. Yeah, so Leslie is claiming, I'm not saying it's true or not true, Leslie, I hope your sources are good, that women in Idaho, which has strict anti-abortion laws, to buy life flight insurance because they won't treat them. So life flight would be the helicopter, just to clarify for those of you who don't know what life flight is. It's the helicopter ambulance helicopter that would take you for treatment. And you're raising a good point here too, Leslie. These women don't always have much time. I think Amber Thurman was made to wait, I don't remember, like 17 hours or something. And by then, I do not understand sepsis, but whatever it is, once it gets a hold of you, you're in trouble. Because it moves fast, and apparently organ failure starts to become a thing. And I assume the sepsis is causing the organ failure, but I don't really know. So if you're trying to fall asleep to this, I apologize. If you're watching this in the rebroadcast in the wee hours, we're talking about some unpleasant topics here. I'm not sure if Cindy's legitimate or not. What do you guys think? She's going to come back in 5 minutes, but I wonder if she's already left, and that's okay. I think she really is drinking the Kool-Aid, not to be mean, but I think she's hearing that any stories about preventable deaths in these abortions, because the people that half of the people that really love preventing abortion, they really believe that a microorganism, a fertilized egg, a blastocyst, a zygote, they believe that's a human being, a full human being. Because that's what's been pushed on us for decades. And it's very emotional. It's very emotional. So I don't want to pick on them, but I do think we got to start saying to them, look what you've done now. You've pushed this belief so far in Texas. You've pushed it so far in Georgia. You've pushed it so far in Idaho. That now women are going to die a preventable death because the idea of a complicated miscarriage kind of fell through the cracks, right? Complicated miscarriage. Thanks for all the hearts, everybody. Appreciate it. It's here's the irony too of arguing with somebody like Cindy, which I'm not here to argue with her. Well, I kind of am. I shouldn't say that. I'm not here to be mean to her, but it does drive up the numbers. So in a way, if I want more viewers, I should never mute somebody like Cindy. So maybe that was a mistake. But sometimes I do think if somebody's mischaracterizing your opinion, you got to give them a timeout, right? And so let me clarify my opinion for everybody in case they read Cindy's comments. Everyone should get immediate standard of care treatment. If you are pregnant, whether you believe in abortion or not, if you start having a complicated miscarriage, get to the hospital. And you might have to look at the doctor and say, look, I know they're threatening you that if you do an abortion that Ken Paxton's going to kick the door in because it's good for him politically, and he's going to try to prosecute you. Even if he ultimately even if you win or if he lets it, drops the case, he could attack, the state attorney general's office has a ton of resources. They could attack a physician. They could attack a group of physicians and make their lives hell. So you might have to look at your doctor and say, I need to count on you as a doctor and not as somebody that's afraid of an unconstitutional law. So no, Cindy, you're wrong. They won't always treat you. Maybe at a hospital that you're personally aware of, you'd have to talk to the OBGYN, because at the end of the day, the doctor's the one that's going to be on the line, because they will have, quote unquote, performed the abortion. Now, Leslie is sharing as yet unconfirmed information that people in Idaho, women in Idaho, are feeling or being told maybe to get life flight insurance so they can get out of the state. In some of those states out there, like Arizona, if you have to leave the state, where are you going to go? How fast can you get there? Bear in mind you are probably bleeding out. You may be having horrible pain and bleeding out. Even on life flight, you might not make it. So even though your brother Seamus is I'm an ordained minister through the Church of the Latter-day Dude, I want to make sure that we keep religion out of our politics. Portia, Joe Soleil, Nevaeh, Amber, and Candy are the result of mixing too much religion into politics. This is the Brother Seamus Show. Thanks for joining us today. Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to the Brother Seamus Show. Hold on, caller. Hold on, caller. I'm coming. Coming to get your call. Don't hang up. There you are. Oh, I just missed you. Give me a call back, caller, if you would. I'll be happy to take your call. Sorry that was so loud if you were sleeping. Let's see if I can turn the ringer down a little. No. I hate when I miss a call, but you know, it happens. We've got 23 minutes left on the poll if you're over on TikTok, folks. Let's see if our caller calls back. Again, ProPublica.org. You can read. There's Portia. That's a tragic. They're all tragic stories. Abortion does save women, people. I know it's upsetting. And it's hard. I grew up in that culture. I understand. I really do. I don't agree with it anymore. Now I've come full circle, and I really see the danger that it poses women. And to me, it's become, after being a psychologist this long, it's become clear to me that the people that really push these policies really have, I would say, an inordinate need, a compelling need to not, I'm going to go out on a limb here, to not just control women. I think they also want to, some of them, a small portion, I'm going to say 5-10%, they actually want to harm women. I think they get some joy. I hate to say it that way. They get some satisfaction, let's put it that way. They get some satisfaction from harming women. And I know that's a scary, dark thought. But here we are. Give me a call, 509-676-6032. I promise to answer next time. But I was in the kitchen. Hey, I was all the way in the kitchen, man, getting my coffee and stuff. So be right back. I do believe it's a desire to hurt women because there is no viable pregnancy left any. Yeah, there you go. Another good point from Leslie. Leslie, you're going to get all the extra point credits for your exam. When it comes exam time, Leslie, you are getting an A, I think. Yeah, why would you make a woman, and you know what else they do? They're like, oh no, we don't want one, we want 2 fetal ultrasounds to confirm. They want to play this game of, we want to make sure that the quote unquote baby is not still alive. And it's like, well, first of all, why isn't the fully formed adult mother's life worth more than a potential human's life? And I know people don't, they want to think of it as a fully formed baby, but it's not. Yeah, so Leslie's saying, what's the point of delaying care after the fetus is no longer viable? So if the pregnancy is not viable, the child's not going to live anyway, but they do. You know what? I think the doctors are doing it out of fear, but I think the people that passed the law, some of them, I don't think Cindy was one of these, but I think some of them really do want to hurt women. They just, I think they can't help it. It's like a primal, you know, why did Ted Bundy do what he did? I don't think Ted Bundy knew. If you haven't watched that documentary, it's disturbing, but fascinating. I think some people have an urge to harm others, and I think it's with a lot of men, it's more directed at women because I think it's an easier target in some ways. So why do some men have that need? I don't know. I think Mother Nature did it. Doris 28 says, the unborn is alive. Okay, Doris, tell us more. Unborn babies feed, move, breathe. Well, they kind of breathe. They definitely move and they definitely feed. But so, Doris, my main argument is there's nobody home. It's a body that's developing. It's like an airplane without a pilot, right? Because until there's the development of the name I'm blanking out on, but I'm going to show you a picture. Isn't this exciting? This is an exciting day, Doris Ann 28. You've inspired me to show a picture of the human brain. Isn't that exciting? Where would that picture be? I'll bet you it's in my downloads folder, people. What do you think of that? Now, if you're on YouTube or TikTok, if you look at my profile page, the thumbnail is the picture of the brain that I'm looking for right now. So, I think it's the thalamocortical. I just remembered the name. So there are thalamocortical connections that have to occur, which, in other words, you have to, your brain has to grow connections between the thalamus and the cortex. And that doesn't even begin. It doesn't even begin until at least 6 months, 7, 8, 9, before that there's actually the capacity. So in other words, like a computer without a processor, the things that a fetus does, it moves, it seems to respond to sound. It is developing nerves and nerve pathways. But if there's no conscious brain to process that information, no, I'm not making excuses, Doris. Y'all are making excuses to justify the killing of fully grown women. See, that's the problem, is that now you've pushed we don't mind you having that view and applying it to yourself, but when you force it on other women, and you force it so far, Doris, so far that now you're killing fully grown adult women in favor of what I would consider as a potential human. But we're not going to agree on that, Doris, so we might as well not yell at each other. I'm still going to find the picture of that brain, though. Still going to find the picture of that brain, Doris, because I want you to see it, and I want you to hear my point of view, not from a hostile angle, but from a, hey, have you considered the fact that at the other end of life, when somebody has a massive stroke or when they're no longer conscious, we consider that person, most of us anyway, consider that person gone, right? So in the beginning, on the other end, when the potential human is developing, we have to have the same consideration, that there's no, not to be mean, but there's nobody home. Well, this isn't the slide I was looking for. I can't find my brain slide, but I'll find it. I'll find it before we go off the air here. This is the basic idea I'm making here, Doris, that what we've done is we're refusing to accept a basic reality because we've anthropomorphized a fetus, and we've decided because it makes certain movements and then it has certain, nervous reactions, that's a fully developed human. And I would argue that is preposterous and causes damage to adult women. Now, it'd be one thing if there was an easy way for doctors to provide an abortion to a woman having a complicated miscarriage. If there was an easy way for them to say, without question, without being threatened with prison, hey, it's my judgment that this woman should get an abortion immediately for her health. But that's going to be fought out in the states. And that's why Donald Trump thinks he can get off the hook on this, even though these abortion bans are really most appropriately referred to as Trump abortion bans, because without Donald Trump's 3 Supreme Court justices who pretty much, wink, wink, nod, nod, had already decided they were going to overturn Roe versus Wade. I think a lot of people thought that they wouldn't do it, but then they did it. And I don't know how many of them realized that when you push it this far, because this is what extremism does, when you push a belief that an egg is in fact a chicken, when you push that belief so far, somebody's going to get hurt. And I don't know, I do believe some of them knew that it would come to this. I think some of the experts on the pro-choice side knew it would come to this. I don't think most Americans realized what it would mean to take away abortion care. I think a lot of people are now, including the women themselves, realizing in the middle of an emergency, realizing, oh my God, the state is trying to stop me from getting the standard of care in an emergency. The state is trying to stop my doctor from helping me not die. Why? Because they're saying the egg, the undeveloped human, the fetus, whatever stage it's at, has a larger right to life than a fully grown mother with a job and a mortgage and a child and a partner and a family. It's extremism, and it can happen in any country. It's a human thing. It's a weakness. It's a vulnerability in our nature to be lied to. But if the lie makes us feel a certain way, especially if it makes us feel scared, like somebody's going to hurt us, then we can be convinced of things. A blastocyst is not a baby. A seed is not an apple, and an egg is not a chicken. Ladies and gentlemen, an egg is not a chicken. This is the Brother Seamus Show. Thanks for joining us today. I've only got a couple minutes left in me. My voice is just the tiniest bit hoarse. And I'm not hearing the music anymore. Did we lose Dronescape? What happened, Dronescape? Let's jump ahead. There it is. There we go. I know this was upsetting for some folks. I think I probably lost Cindy there. Maybe I shouldn't have given her a timeout. Yeah, Leslie makes another good point. Soon there will be no OBGYN doctors left in these states. Well, and they already, I think if you read, you don't have to read all those ProPublica articles, but they talked to quite a few OBGYNs who said they're either leaving or they're hearing that some people are just passing it up. Like, young doctors usually will look around the whole country to see where their best opportunity is. And some of them are just not going to look at these states anymore. So if you're in one of those states, let's start organizing. Don't give up. Let's think about practical ways. How do you help a young woman in this situation? I think right now, the most important thing we can do is talk about we can talk about kind of what Doris is saying here. How do you respond to these arguments that abortion is killing a baby? Because that's what it always goes back to. And I think you have to say, no, I think you've been tricked, Doris Ann. I think you've been tricked. And native Texan gal number 2, how could there be more than one native? No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to follow you, native Texas gal. I think I just followed you. Missy Myra 63. Oh, I'm not moving around enough. I'm not moving around enough for TikTok. We have detected inactivity during your current live. Complete the verification to continue. And this is where you have to pull a puzzle piece with your mouse, and you got to pull it right into the empty space that fits it. And then that proves you're a human. Isn't that something, people? I'll tell you what, this is the Brother Seamus Show, and I'm gonna show you our merch site, and then I'm gonna get off the air because it's time. We've talked as much as we can talk today, but let's think about how do we help young women. I think right now it's got to be education. It's got to be spreading the word that this could happen, and maybe developing scripts so that if you are having an emergency unplanned miscarriage, or if you were trying to take mifepristone and it's not working right, immediately go to the emergency room. Immediately go to the emergency room. And maybe there's a way to have a script so that we could help someone who needs that to say, hey, look, I have read about how women are dying because they don't get a D&C in time, and that's not gonna work. I'll sue everybody here if, some version of like helping women get the care they need, and to get the doctors and the women working together, because that's how the state will lose. Potential mothers going through emergency miscarriages and doctors need to link arms. They need to have a legal defense fund, and they need to challenge these absolutely fucked up laws, these dangerous laws, these laws that are causing a quiet genocide. It's not as loud as Gaza. But when you don't hear about genocides like the Uyghurs in China, when you don't talk about it, it's easy to pretend it's not happening. So I think we have to make sure that doesn't happen. That's kind of the whole drive of my show at the moment. Now, of course, your brother Seamus, it's not just about abortion, but at our core, we're a human rights organization here at the Brother Seamus Show, and I hope you'll join us. You can join our team just by, in your mind, just saying, yep, I'm going to join this team. There, I heard that, and now you're a member. I think collective action is going to be a big part of it. Can you imagine what would happen to the oil corporations if everybody in the United States, not everybody, let's say 30 to 60% of the population decided to cut their gasoline use in half? Not even quitting driving altogether, but they cut their use in half. Immediate benefit to the atmosphere. Just like during COVID, right? Everybody pretty much stopped driving for a minute, and our air got better. If you don't follow that kind of thing, our air got scientifically, quantitatively better. But now, let's say all of you who are sick of getting fucked around by corporations, let's say all of us, we gather like a beehive, we hook in with the Gen Zs, the Millennials, the Gen Xers, the baby boomers too. The tent is big, and we all just decide we're going to use half as much gasoline. We figure out a way to do it. We get rides. We we do multiple things at once. We take a couple days a week where we don't drive at all. First of all, good for the air, right? I already mentioned that. Second of all, what happens when the demand for gas drops precipitously? The price will drop too. So it's kind of it's a twofer, right? We get cleaner air, We don't wait for government restrictions. We just decide as a group of humans that we're going to use less gas. We make our air cleaner through volunteerism. I don't trust the isms. I don't trust communism. I don't trust capitalism. I don't trust socialism. I don't trust any ism. But maybe collectivism in some form, sharing in some form, is a good idea. The government doesn't always need to handle every problem all by itself. And the healthier the government, the better. Which means we all have to participate. That's another recurring theme for the show. We all have to participate for the democracy to work. Think of yourself as a cell in the body politic. If you're all cut off from your neighbors and you don't know what's going on, and you're being told things on social media, if you're cut off enough from your community, the body politic starts to rot. So find a way to get involved. I don't think that means you have to join. I'm not even saying join a political party. I'm saying talk to your neighbors about, hey, what's going on around here? Who do I need to talk to to get involved? And everybody has different strengths and traits. I like to wear a disco ball helmet, drink coffee, and talk into an old school microphone that I used to use in my rock band in the 90s, man. So let's stop the quiet genocide against women. Let's remind the governors. By the way, Brother Seamus is a practitioner of nonviolence. We do not do violence, okay? If you're having a miscarriage and it's complicated at all, get to the emergency room. If you're fighting fascism in the state of Georgia and Texas, and they're quietly killing women by denying them health care, get active. Don't get violent. You get active. Now, that doesn't mean you can't call the governor and give him a piece of your mind and say, hey, Governor Kemp, instead of firing the review board and trying to cover this up, maybe you should admit that you signed it. Pardon my French, people, earmuffs if you got kids. You signed a fucked up law. And so did you, Greg Abbott. And you hitched yourself to Ken Paxton, who's trying to be a zealot. He's going to go after the doctors. He's going to go after the hospitals. Well, guess what's going to happen in Texas? Say goodbye to OBGYN care. And then, you know what? When there aren't enough OBGYNs, you're going to have more unnecessary deaths. That'll be what you're remembered for. That'll be your legacy, Kay. That'll be your legacy, Governor of Idaho. That you let otherwise healthy women die by denying them the standard of care because religious zealots took over your state legislature. And why were they so able to take over? Gerrymandering. That's why. For those of you who don't know what gerrymandering is, it's just cheating with maps. It's a way for a minority group to hold power, like in North Carolina. It's cheating. Gerrymandering's cheating, and then what happens is you get these groups of people, let's say far-right anti-abortion zealots, who invade the state house, and they write fucked up laws, and then along comes Donald Trump, and he says, here's a triple, here's a Roe versus Wade triple threat, and they kill Roe versus Wade. Donnie makes good on his promise to the far-right religious zealots. It worked. Congratulations. He took a victory lap. He said he's very proud of himself. And then when he started to realize it was going to backfire on him, and he knows that now, that's when he started saying, well, I sent it to the states. The states can do whatever, That's what the legal scholar said. It's like, no, that's what a couple legal scholars said. A couple others said it's a huge mistake. It went back to the states, who were ready and waiting to deny women abortion care. And they did. They were ready and waiting to deny women the standard of care. They did, and now We have 5 young moms, in some cases, potential moms, who aren't with us anymore because of what then President Trump did. And because of the way those Supreme Court justices misrepresented themselves intentionally prior to their confirmation. Not that it would have mattered, but they misrepresented themselves because they knew full well what their plan was. That was to get rid of Roe versus Wade. And now women are dying. They succeeded. I don't know how many of them understood that it would come to this, but here we are. So I would say, number one, I would, as a psychologist, I would say the healthier your community, the better off you are. So I would, and community could be your neighborhood. That's how I do it, living in a more city area. But if you're out in a rural area, your community can be anyone you're connected to. They could be halfway around the world and still be a part of your community. However, it is nice if the physical community around you can help you. And I think what I would say at this point, if I was young and I was not certain about wanting to be a parent, I would do everything I could right now. If you live in any of the states mentioned today, I'll go ahead and put the map up again. It never hurts to put the map up. Because some people live in these states where they could run into trouble, and it can happen faster than you think, right? But you could run into trouble. You might not know it if you're young and you're just now finding out that you're pregnant. It might catch you by surprise. Okay, where's my map? Give me the map back. That's not it. Give me the map back. Oh, here we go. So if you live in one of these green states here, for those of you who are listening, I'll read off the names. But if you live in one of these green states, some of them are so restrictive, and I don't know what's happening. I think we're not sure yet what's going to happen. But 5 states, Arkansas, Idaho, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and South Dakota, do not have any exceptions for the health of the pregnant person. The law apparently says you can only do an abortion to preserve life. And life's in quotes. So I don't know. I don't think anybody knows what that means exactly, except there's no exception for the health of the mother. So Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Looks like Tennessee, Kentucky, Missouri, West Virginia, Indiana, Oklahoma, Louisiana. Did I say Mississippi already? Arizona, Idaho, Nebraska. Oh, and South and North Dakota, they're saying. I thought it was only South Dakota. But whatever the case, if you live in one of those states, I would be really careful about getting pregnant unless you're really ready to roll. Because even if you want to be pregnant and you want to have a baby, if something goes wrong, and sometimes the doctors are wrong. Sometimes, this is the other thing, the hospital attorneys and the doctors might misinterpret the law. They might say, oh gosh, it's like the one, I think Joseph Lee was told it would be a crime to intervene in what was a fast-moving involuntary miscarriage. Through no fault of her own, she was having a miscarriage. They could have intervened and saved her life, but they said, no, you can't intervene. So, and I want to keep talking about it because I think it's important for people to realize just how crazy that is, that in 2024, we will essentially step back and watch a woman having a miscarriage die because an attorney general and a bunch of far-right religious folks decided that your body is, if you're a woman, that your body belongs to the state. And that's just sad. I think it leaves us really with nothing but sadness. So be careful out there. Take care of each other. Talk to the people around you. If you're someone caught up in conspiracy theories, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person, but it maybe means you're vulnerable. It maybe means you're vulnerable to that. And talking to somebody who cares about you but who disagrees with you can help. It really can. I would recommend everybody stay off of social media as much as you can. And then you might say, yeah, but you're doing social media. And I would say, yeah, I am, because I enjoy it. But I also, I know it's the only way I can reach people. At the end of the day, if my live stream has any impact on anyone, I hope it's to get them to get off of social media, because I really honestly think we can't handle it. At least a good portion of us can't handle it. And they will steal. Steve Bannon said it. He came right out and said it. He said, we're going to flood the zone with bullshit so that people can't tell what's real anymore. And that's pretty scary. So consider yourselves warned. If you want to support the Brother Seamus Show and help us run social media, we're basically going to run an ongoing social media ad campaign pushing the idea that abortion is a life-saving endeavor for women. We're going to push that idea because it's true. It has the convenience of being true. And I think we all knew it. But I honestly didn't think women were going to die that quickly. That completely blew my mind. So get yourself a Proud Snowflake two-tone coffee mug. You can see it here on the screen if you're watching. If you're, oops, I didn't mean to go back. If you're just listening, bonfire.com/humans for democracy. Humans for democracy, folks. And the Brother Seamus Show is proud to have their merch sponsored by Humans for Democracy. That's also the name of the organization that if you buy anything, and we'll share the social media campaign as it goes. Any money that we make on t-shirts or coffee mugs, we have these great t-shirts that say Immigrants Make Great Americans, lots of colors and styles. Bonfire.com/humans for democracy. You can find a link in both profile pages, TikTok and YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook at Humans for Democracy as well. It's been nice hanging out with you. I hope there aren't any hard feelings, Cindy, but we have to push back. There's just no way around it. We have to push back, right? It's one thing to have religious folks with extreme views on abortion. But when it comes to, now regular people, regular women who are having a miscarriage can't rely on hospitals to save them, I think that's a sign. I think that's a sign we've gone too far. Thanks for calling, whoever you were, mysterious caller. I looked up your number. It looked like you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan, so I hope you're having fun in Grand Rapids. I hear you're getting a big meltdown. We're out here, we're coming to you live from Walla Walla, Washington, people. Way out west. Thanks for those of you who participated on the TikTok stream. It was lovely meeting you and talking to you, and even those of you who I disagree with, it was still lovely. Oh, wow. Now Leslie is saying they're worried they might lose more representation by not having enough voters. Oh, yeah. Missouri, Kansas, and Idaho is suing the FDA over mifepristone, wanting more teen pregnancies. Yep. So, yeah, that's another way they're going to do it. Another great point by Leslie. Leslie, are you an expert? Are you a secret expert on this? You don't have to say. I'm just curious. Oh boy. So you're saying they want more teen pregnancies. Now that's kind of fascinating. They're worried they might lose representation. That's true, yeah. I do think there's an effort to I don't want to call it population control. Oh, you work for the airline. Have you been on here before? Because did I already ask you that? I may. Sometimes I repeat myself, Leslie, and I just want you to know it's nothing personal. Well, that's cool. I hope your job on the airline isn't too stressful, but I feel like I don't even know what to call it, the overall ambience on airplanes these days, I just feel like people are more hostile. And I think humans are always potentially hostile, as I'm sure you know, working for an airline. But I feel like social media has made us more openly hostile now. And that's another thing I kind of want to push back on this show, is to say, hey, why are we turning into these assholes? Because, when I was growing up, Leslie, I don't know about you, but our neighbors had all kinds of different political opinions. We didn't ask about it. We didn't push. We were like, hey, we're neighbors. We got to get along. So let's just get along. And I think social media has made us a little too nosy, or not nosy. That's not quite right. I think you know what I'm saying now. So there you go. If you buy some merch, or if you can get other people to follow, it helps the Brother Seamus Show. And I will essentially run a social media ad campaign that argues that abortion saves women from death by miscarriage, because it's just a real sort of simple, straightforward statement that is, in my opinion, what I call counter speech. Abortion saves women instead of abortion kills babies. The kills babies part was a lie, because the word baby was being misappropriated, misused. An 8-week-old embryo is not a fully functioning human. It's hard to talk about, but we have to do it. Oh, that's nice, Leslie. You get to travel. Yeah, that'd be the best thing about your job, I think. I would do it until you just, travel as much as you can until you can't stand it anymore, and then who knows what. Become a rock star, something like that. Social media allows people to be hostile, but anonymously. Absolutely. Yep. And while we're on there being hostile, little Mark Zuckerberg's over there going, oh, look, this article upsets Leslie, or this article upsets Brother Seamus. Let's send him and her some more articles to get them more upset so they'll stay on longer so we can sell more ads. And that's how the whole gosh darn thing is just really screwing us all. We're screwing ourselves with social media. Now, I'm not saying there isn't anything good about social media. We'll get into that next time, but don't think we had the psychological, emotional maturity to be talking to each other like this. And I think it destroys communities, because communities are going to have all kinds of people. Forget about Republican, Democrat. That's kind of, they're kind of bullshit distinctions in a way. Not bullshit, but they're not helpful. You live in a community, you have to get along with people. Let's talk about stuff. Let's talk to our neighbors, maybe in person, so we can have nuance. You know, you can see their facial expressions, maybe talking on the phone, even texting. We lose the nuance in our conversations, and I think that hurts the community. And if you're the cell of the body politic, and a bunch of the cells in the community of cells are withdrawn and sick and not working together, what kind of democracy are we going to have? I think we're going to have a fucked up, radical, extreme type of government trying to seize power. Oh, wait. It seems like that maybe already happened. But nothing's preordained. Take heart. Nothing's preordained. We're flexible. We're smart. We're going to continue fighting. Most people agree that a woman should have the right to choose. The vast majority of humans agree that a woman should be able to choose if she's ready to be pregnant. So we'll ultimately prevail. Look at Mexico, a predominantly Catholic country. Not only did they elect a female president, she's also Jewish, if you can believe it. And prior to electing her, I think it was just prior, maybe it's 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they legalized abortion across the whole country. That's a primarily Catholic nation. But you know what they did? They calmed down. They calmed down and they said, you know what? Forcing birth upon a woman who's not ready or willing or able does not benefit society in one way. And I know I can hear people already saying, yeah, but you're killing the unborn. And it's like, well, who are they? You're treating these fetus like they're fully grown people, but who are they? They don't even have a consciousness yet. How are they a person? They're a potential person. But that's what upsets people, because they picture them as fully developed babies. It's a tricky one. Thanks for joining us today. Let's do a slow fade to black. What do you say?